Hello, my name is Gabrielle Saunders, and this is a grant proposal overview for the Living Room Project for the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI, of West Central Indiana. So the Living Room Project is a project in which, it's a program in which the mentally ill who normally go to the emergency room for mental health crises could actually go into a place called the living room. And the living room is a place where they can talk to peer support staff and see clinicians, not have to pay exorbitant fees, and to be able to walk in and actually see mental health providers and not have a long wait time. And it really revolutionizes the idea of mental health care. There are two living rooms in place right now. One is in DuPage and one is in Metro Suburban, both in Illinois. So these projects are a little bit different, but West Central Indiana would be basing their living room program off of these two programs that are already in place. So NAMI West Central Indiana, a little bit about it. It's a nonprofit in West Lafayette, Indiana, and it serves 8 separate counties. And basically, a grant is required for them for the Living Room Project because they're a nonprofit. And, the Living Room is designed to help people, so it would not generate any revenue in itself. And, salaries are required for peer support staff to be paid, as well as for other fees, as you can see in the budget, that there are some funders already, but $52,744 is ultimately required for this project, and a lot of money will be for office program space and for some administrative overhead, as well as peer support salary. Just to go back a little bit about NAMI West Central Indiana, it's part of a grassroots organization. Like I said, there are other branches of it, but it ultimately kind of operates by itself as part of the national entity. So for this program, just a little bit about it, an introduction and needs assessment. People with psychiatric emergencies right now need to go to emergency rooms where there are long wait times, and the setting can actually exacerbate mental health issues that are happening. And, especially during the current pandemic, people are finding that they have these mental health issues that they did not have before. So it's really important right now that they get these mental health issues addressed. People are finding there are long wait times, and that they have to pay a lot of money that they can't afford for psychiatric help. So it's important to revolutionize current mental health treatment. There are 2 outcomes that would be addressed by the living room in the short term. They include having less ER visits and for mental health crises, and also having greater access to licensed mental health clinicians. In the medium term, the outcomes include having more support groups access, like the NAMI support groups, as well as having patients not have to wait a long time for mental health treatment. In the long term, there would be fewer lethal mental health crises, suicide, for example, and there would be greater success in jobs and in schooling in the West Central Indiana area. So I propose that the living room be a place for mental health crises to be addressed instead of the hospital, like I said. And there are key stakeholders in place already, like Meridian Health Services and Willowstone Family Services, but ultimately more money is required for the Living Room Project. And just a little bit about the timeline. So we hope to have it in place by the beginning of 2022. So in October, funding will be secured, the office space will be secured, and then we already have the clinicians and hospital partners. In November, the peer support would be developed and they would be trained, and then the living room would be advertised. And then in December, The orientation would be held, and then the living room would be launched. And then to evaluate the program, we would really just look at the number of ER visits for mental health, and now in the past year as well. We would also look at support groups and their successes and ask attendees to review them. And we would also evaluate the number of fatal mental health crises and to send follow-up surveys to living room attendees. And you can also see this detailed in the document as well. Overall, I really wanted to acknowledge the director of NAMI West Central Indiana, Sherry Moore, who has been very instrumental in this living room planning, as well as Professor Attila Hertelendi for educating me in the grant writing proposal process, and to acknowledge NAMI of West Central Indiana. And please, I urge you to consider the living room as a way to address mental health issues in the area of West Lafayette, Indiana.